Have you ever had that feeling where you're kind of stuck, like you're facing some challenge at work, but you just aren't sure how to approach it?
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. It's like, should you map everything out in detail or just stay flexible and figure things out as you go? It's a tough one.
It really is. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to explore this idea of, well, actually, it's a distinction between difficulty and complexity.
And, it might seem kind of theoretical at first, but honestly, understanding this difference can really change how you tackle all sorts of challenges.
For sure. So, to get us started, let's think about this. Imagine you're trying to lift a seriously heavy weight.
Okay, got it.
Now, that's definitely difficult, no question about it. It takes a ton of effort, strength. But the task itself is pretty straightforward, right? You just got to pick it up.
Right.
The outcome is clear. You either lift it or you don't.
Yeah, totally.
But now let's compare that to something like, oh, I don't know, trying to navigate a busy city during rush hour.
Okay, yeah, I can see where you're going with this.
There are so many things happening at once, like traffic, pedestrians darting out, construction, sudden road closures. It's unpredictable.
It really is.
And that, my friend, is complexity in action.
You hit the nail on the head. And while both that heavyweight and that rush hour traffic present, obstacles, the nature of those obstacles is totally different.
You're right. So with difficulty, it's mostly about the effort you got to put in for a task that generally has a pretty predictable outcome.
Yeah, you put in more effort, you push harder, you overcome the difficulty.
Exactly. But complexity, well, complexity is a whole other ballgame.
It is?
It's all about tons of interconnected factors and, here's the kicker, unpredictable outcomes.
And that makes a huge difference.
It's not just about how hard you work, it's more about how you navigate all those moving parts, all that uncertainty.
Exactly. It's like a constantly shifting puzzle.
And get this, recognizing this difference lets us actually categorize the work we do in a really interesting way. We can look at it through two lenses, so to speak. Is the work simple or complex, and is it hard or easy?
I like that. Two lenses. So where do we start?
Well, first off, let's tackle work that's simple but hard. The example that popped into my head, and this is straight from the video presentation we're looking at, is lifting weights.
Makes sense.
The task is straightforward, the goal is clear, get stronger, lift heavier, but it takes a lot of, physical effort and repetition.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Then you've got work that's simple and easy, like, say, counting how many paper clips are in your desk drawer.
Okay, I can picture that.
It's not exactly mentally taxing, the process is super direct, and you're unlikely to run into any major surprises along the way.
True. So we've covered the simple stuff. What about the complex side of things?
All right, now things get a little more interesting. Let's start with complex but easy work. Think about driving a car or riding a bike.
Okay, I'm following.
You've got a bunch of variables at play, other cars, weather conditions, pedestrians, even your own balance and coordination.
Definitely complex.
So it's complex, for sure. But with practice, it actually becomes pretty effortless. Like, you're almost on autopilot.
You're right, and it's fascinating how we learn to handle that complexity without even really thinking about it. Our brains are amazing.
They are. All right, and last but not least, we have complex and hard work. And the perfect illustration for this, at least according to the video presentation, is coordinating a space mission.
Whoa, yeah, that's next level.
You've got so many unpredictable factors, constant risks. It takes huge effort from a massive team, extreme precision, and you have to adapt to new situations all the time.
And in those situations, traditional planning methods often just fall apart because unexpected stuff happens and you have to be ready to pivot.
It's like the ultimate test of adaptability and teamwork. So with these four categories in mind, our goal in this deep dive is to, well, help you figure out which approach, and here's where we can draw some parallels to different ways of managing stuff, like Waterfall for projects and Agile. And when I say Agile, I mean Agile culture, values, principles, practices, processes, tools for work is the most effective for all the different challenges you face.
It's about finding the right tool for the job, so to speak.
Precisely. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about some of the more traditional approaches to managing projects like Waterfall.
Okay, okay.
And to be fair, Waterfall has been behind some truly incredible accomplishments. I mean, the video presentation even mentions the ancient pyramids and modern skyscrapers.
It's impressive, no doubt.
It really is, and Waterfall is particularly effective when you're dealing with simple, predictable projects, regardless of whether they're super effort-intensive or not.
Right.
Think about building a pyramid, for example.
Okay.
The plans are set, the steps are laid out in order, And while it's a massive undertaking, the process itself is relatively predictable from start to finish.
And that's where Waterfall shines: clear steps, clear outcome.
Exactly. But here's the thing. The world has gotten a lot more, well, dynamic. Change is constant.
Absolutely.
And as the video points out, there's this temptation to kind of stick with what we know and try to apply that same waterfall approach to everything, even when it might not be the best fit.
Yeah, it's like we reach for that familiar hammer even when we really need a screwdriver.
It is. And, the core assumption behind Waterfall is that projects can be standardized, to maximize efficiency.
Right.
And while that works great for simple, repeatable tasks like we talked about earlier, it starts to fall apart when you're dealing with complex work where things are unpredictable and you don't have a crystal clear path from the get-go.
And that's precisely where agile culture, values, principles, practices, processes, tools for managing work really comes into play.
It does.
It gives you that much needed flexibility, that ability to adjust on the fly, which is super important in today's world where everything's changing so fast.
It's like Waterfall provides this really strong, predefined structure, which is perfect for those simple, predictable projects.
Right.
But agile culture, values, principles, practices, processes, tools is more about fostering a mindset that embraces change and tackles those inherent challenges of complex work, step by step.
Yeah, it's a different way of thinking.
And until we really grasp this fundamental difference between difficulty and complexity, we risk, well, trying to force every situation into this one-size-fits-all box.
You got it. And in doing so, we miss out on the strengths of each approach.
We do. So, to summarize, Waterfall gives you that structured framework that works well for simple, predictable projects, while agile culture, values, principles, practices, processes, tools gives you that adaptability you need when things are complex and uncertain.
And that brings us to another interesting point that the video presentation touches upon: the rise of AI.
Oh, right. AI. That's a big one.
It is. And the video highlights how incredibly good AI is at handling simple tasks, both the easy ones and the hard ones.
Yeah, AI is great at crunching numbers and finding patterns.
It is. Think about things like data analysis or doing complex calculations. AI can totally excel in those areas, taking on those hard but simple tasks and freeing up human brain power for other, more creative, more strategic things.
So true. But when it comes to complex tasks that require human intuition, that spark of creativity, and that ability to adapt to unexpected curveballs, that's where we humans still have the upper hand.
We do.
Mm.
And recognizing that and working with AI is key.
It's all about finding that synergy, that sweet spot where humans and AI complement each other.
I like that synergy. So how do we avoid just defaulting to the same old approach? Whether it's waterfall for every project, or trying to shoehorn agile culture, values, principles, practices, processes, tools into every type of work.
That's a great question. And the video presentation offers a pretty simple but powerful suggestion. Cultivate the habit of looking before leaping.
Interesting. What does that look like in practice?
It means taking a step back and actually assessing the work you're about to take on before you jump into a specific management strategy.
So don't just assume, take the time to assess.
Exactly. You need to evaluate both the difficulty level and, this is crucial, the complexity level. So instead of assuming one approach is going to work for everything, we need to make that initial assessment part of our routine. Do it even before we start listing out tasks or setting deadlines.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So what questions should we be asking ourselves?
When you're about to start any new piece of work, ask yourself these questions. Is this work truly complex with lots of moving parts and unpredictable factors?
Okay, I'm writing these down.
Or is it mostly about difficulty, meaning it requires a lot of effort but has a clear and predictable outcome?
Got it.
And are we choosing an approach that really aligns with the true nature of this work?
Because if we're not, we're setting ourselves up for a lot of unnecessary headaches.
We are. Like, trying to overcomplicate simple projects with a ton of processes can be just as wasteful as trying to oversimplify work that's inherently complex and needs a more adaptable approach.
Totally agree.
By getting into this habit of evaluating first, we can make smarter decisions, get better results, because we're matching our approach to the actual demands of the task at hand.
It's all about being intentional.
It is. So, to bring it all home, the key takeaway here is that different kinds of work really do require different approaches. Waterfall gives you that structure you need for simple, predictable projects, and it's got a solid track record of success in those areas. I mean, look at the pyramids and skyscrapers. Those are incredible feats of engineering. But the whole idea of standardized work that underpins Waterfall, well, It becomes a real bottleneck when you're dealing with complex work where things are constantly changing and the path forward isn't always clear.
And that's where agile culture, values, principles, practices, processes, tools
It
shines.
does.
It gives you the flexibility and adaptability you need to navigate that complexity and uncertainty. It's not just a set of practices, it's a whole way of thinking. And when we think about AI and all its capabilities, we see how powerful it can be for handling simple tasks, whether they're easy or hard. AI can process data and spot patterns like nobody's business, but for those really complex tasks that require human judgment, creativity, and that ability to adapt on a dime, that's where our unique skills as humans are still absolutely essential. And that's why collaboration between humans and AI is so powerful. We can each focus on what we do best.
It's like a dynamic duo, each bringing their own superpowers to the table.
Exactly. So as you think about the work you're doing right now, can you tell the difference between what's truly complex and what's simply difficult? And are you using the right approach for the type of work you're tackling?
Those are really good questions to ponder. And if you're looking for a more in-depth exploration of these ideas, we highly recommend checking out the video presentation we've been talking about. You can find thumbnails and links in the description below. It's definitely worth a watch.
It is. There's so much valuable information in there.
All right, well, that's a wrap for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us. And until next time, keep those brains buzzing.
And keep those challenges coming.